In September 1987, in the heart of Brazil, two men made a discovery that would turn their city into the site of one of history's worst radiological disasters. But this isn't a story about nuclear power plants or weapons tests. This is a story about a forgotten hospital, a curious discovery, and a beautiful blue light that would eventually kill 4 people and contaminate 249 others. It's a story that would change how the world thinks about radioactive materials forever. Most had never heard of radiation or understood its dangers. Why would they? This wasn't a place of nuclear research or weapons development. It was a city of ordinary people living ordinary lives. But sometimes the most extraordinary disasters happen in the most ordinary places. It began at the abandoned Goianian Institute of Radiotherapy, a former clinic that had been vacant for 2 years. The building stood empty, its valuable equipment left behind when the clinic relocated. 2 scrap metal scavengers, Roberto Alves and Wagner Mota, were looking for valuable materials they could sell. In a world where poverty drives people to search through abandoned buildings for survival, they thought they'd found something valuable. They had no idea that their discovery would change their lives and their city forever. The device they found was massive, weighing several hundred pounds. It took them hours to remove it from the building using a wheelbarrow. What they didn't know was that this machine contained something deadly, a capsule of cesium-137, a highly radioactive material used in cancer treatment. The capsule was about the size of a thumb, but it contained enough radiation to kill anyone who got too close. In proper medical use, this material was carefully shielded and monitored. Now, it was in the hands of people who had no idea what they were dealing with. The men took their find to a nearby scrapyard owned by De Ferreira. It was September 13th when they began dismantling the equipment. The heavy lead shielding around the capsule was difficult to break through, but they persisted. When they finally managed to crack open the casing, they found something that seemed magical, a deep blue powder that glowed in the dark. It was like nothing they'd ever seen before. In the darkness of the scrapyard, it cast an ethereal blue light that mesmerized everyone who saw it. What happened next would haunt Brazil for years to come. De Ver was so captivated by the glowing substance that he took it home. He thought he'd discovered something valuable, perhaps a type of rare paint or magical powder. He showed it to his friends and family. People spread it on their skin to watch it sparkle in the dark. Children played with it like glitter. One little girl, Lyde das Neves Ferreira, even put it on her face while eating a sandwich. No one could have imagined that each moment of fascination with the beautiful blue glow was exposing them to deadly radiation. But cesium-137 isn't a toy or a magical substance. It's one of the most dangerous radioactive materials on Earth. As it breaks down, it releases invisible radiation that penetrates human cells, destroying them from the inside out. Every second of exposure was causing irreversible damage to anyone nearby. The powder was so radioactive that even brief contact could cause severe burns and internal damage. The first signs that something was wrong appeared within days. People began experiencing mysterious symptoms: severe vomiting, diarrhea, dizziness. Strange burns started appearing on their skin, burns that wouldn't heal. Hair began falling out in clumps. But in a cruel twist of fate, no one connected these symptoms to the beautiful blue powder. After all, how could something so beautiful be so deadly? The turning point came when Maria Gabriela Ferreira, De Ver's wife, made a crucial decision that would save countless lives. She had noticed that everyone who came into contact with the powder was getting sick. Something about this wasn't right. On September 28, 2 weeks after the capsule was first opened, she gathered the remains of the device in a plastic bag and took it to a local health clinic by bus, unknowingly exposing everyone on her route to radiation. When she arrived at the clinic, the doctors were skeptical at first. But one of them had the foresight to test the material with a Geiger counter. When they did, the reading was so high it went off the scale. The medical staff immediately evacuated the building. Finally, people realized what they were dealing with, but it was already too late for many. What followed was unprecedented in Brazil's history. The Brazilian Nuclear Energy Commission was called in. International atomic energy experts rushed to Goiânia. The government cordoned off entire neighborhoods. Houses were demolished, topsoil was removed. Even paper money had to be checked for contamination. In total, 85 houses were destroyed. 200 people were found to be contaminated. 4 people died, including 6-year-old Lyde das Neves Ferreira, whose death was particularly tragic as she had ingested the powder while eating. The cleanup operation was massive. It produced 6,000 tons of radioactive waste, all of which had to be carefully contained and stored. It took 3 years and cost millions of dollars. But the real cost was in human suffering and environmental damage. Areas of Goiânia remained contaminated for years. The psychological impact on the community was devastating. Many survivors faced discrimination, with people fearing they were somehow contagious. The accident revealed a frightening truth: radioactive materials weren't just dangerous in power plants or weapons, they could be deadly anywhere if not properly secured and handled. It exposed serious gaps in how radioactive materials were tracked and secured worldwide. Before Goiânia, many countries had relatively lax controls on radiological equipment. After Goiânia, everything changed. Today, Goiânia has recovered, but the lessons remain etched in the city's memory. The disaster wasn't caused by a nuclear accident or a weapon. It was caused by something much simpler: a lack of security, awareness, and proper disposal of radioactive materials. It showed how dangerous everyday objects can be when we don't understand what we're dealing with. Right now, there are thousands of radiation therapy units in hospitals around the world. Most are properly secured and monitored, but some aren't, and that's why the Goiânia accident matters more than ever. In an age where radiological equipment is becoming more common in medical facilities worldwide, the possibility of another Goiânia looms if we don't maintain strict security protocols. The blue glow that fascinated so many people in Goiânia wasn't magic or a miracle. It was a warning, one we must never forget. Because sometimes the most dangerous things can appear beautiful, and the greatest disasters can start with a simple act of curiosity. The accident stands as a stark reminder that in our modern world, ignorance of scientific hazards can have devastating consequences. Since Goiânia, international regulations for radioactive materials have become much stricter. The International Atomic Energy Agency has developed detailed guidelines for securing radioactive sources. Hospitals and clinics must follow rigid protocols for storing and disposing of radiological equipment. But with radioactive materials being used more than ever before, the lesson remains: proper security and education about radioactive materials is essential. The Goiânia accident may have happened over 3 decades ago, but its lessons are more relevant today than ever. In a world where technological advancement often outpaces public understanding, we must remember that knowledge, awareness, and proper safety measures are our best defense against similar tragedies. The beautiful blue glow of cesium-137 serves as an eternal reminder that sometimes the most dangerous things in our world are the ones we don't understand. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. I'll see you in the next one.